One thing that makes us different than other charities is we do have a core 4 or so charities that we believe in that are pretty local.
The Marty Lyons Foundation,
the Children of Hope Foundation,
Hope House,
and the Stony Brook Cancer Center. But in addition, we raise funds so that we could support the community around us. One of them is the Sunshine Center that helps with children and families affected with drug and substance abuse here on Long Island. We also worked with a group of social workers from the Longwood School District to help the families when they have unexpected needs. One of the foundations that I've been working with the longest is the Stony Brook Cancer Center.
At the Cancer Center, we have several programs. One that we're particularly proud of is Adopt a Family. During the holidays, patients may struggle with celebrating.
These families are chosen by need because of their circumstances.
Having a diagnosis of cancer is devastating enough. Being a young single mom makes it that much more difficult.
A single mom undergoing treatment who had a very simple wish of getting a bed for her 7-year-old son.
You know, I can't even imagine not being able to provide something as simple as a twin-size bed for my child. We were able to match her up with Promise of Hope and Tammy Coletti, who not only provided her with the bed that she needed, they also provided a lot of comfort items, clothing, and made a joyous celebration. They brought the items to the patient and delivered them themselves. They were able to give them jackets and winter clothing, as well as toys and other things that she would have not been able to have. So this boy was able to have a memorable Christmas. Our job is to provide comfort. We're able to do that because of world-class foundations like Promise of Hope.
Certain things when you watch the news catches you. And I saw that the PBA, what they do is for underprivileged kids is they raise some money and they bring them to this toy store and they let them go shopping.
2, 3, let's go!
A shopping spree for children who can't count on a home visit from Santa Claus.
I came across the police commissioner and I said, you know, I saw this on the news and I thought it was fantastic and I would like to help contribute.
He told me he can help out, he wants to help out. I felt that that's something we kind of got figured out.
He goes, but if you would like, we do have this other cause that, you know, has pretty much run depleted. It's our Widows and Orphans Fund. Would you mind if we use that money for that instead? My response was, how could we not want to give to that?
And then he, you know, we spoke and he was promised me $15,000.
I said, but I think just a check isn't enough. Let's have a quick separate fundraiser and try to raise even more money for that cause.
Well, in Pierce, these guys have done this before. They're a machine. They put this all together very quickly.
3 weeks later, we had a fundraiser.
They sent out invitations. They got you know, people from the community out, and they gave from their heart. We raised with auctions $40,000.
And I thank you, and I thank everyone that contributed.
We lost around 5 guys in a line in 2 years, and it's a rough road. It's a terrible road, you know, and unfortunately, it comes with the job at times.
Sometimes we will see a foundation in our area that we just like, that it lines up with our same belief system, and we will reach out to them and ask them how we can help them.
LI Against Domestic Violence provides comprehensive services for victims of domestic violence.
We reached out to the Long Island Against Domestic Violence charity to see how we could help them during the holiday season.
Oftentimes when people come into our shelter in particular, they're leaving with very few possessions. You know, they're throwing some things in a bag for themselves, for their kids, and getting out so that they can be safe.
One of the things that we learned is that the women and families that are going there are in need of the basics that we all take for granted.
So they wanted to give us some gift cards that we could pass along to our clients so that, you know, our clients could go shopping. When we gave out the gift cards to clients, I remember one client in particular, you know, she welled up with tears because she was just so grateful to be able to do a little shopping around the holidays. She had 2 young kids, and it meant a lot to her. We're very grateful to be one of the charities that they chose to help this year. It's wonderful to be the recipient of people who are just so generous.
I always found touching is when you hear on TV that somebody went to the Walmart and, you know, made a donation to help people with their layaways.
So once again, Mike had one of his brilliant ideas.
So we really thought we'd be able to walk in to Walmart.
I'm thinking they're gonna swipe the thing for 10 grand.
They pay all this stuff off and we'd be out the door in 15 minutes, tops. Not that easy.
We both have our Promise of Hope cards out.
After I swiped the card 5 times, the card stopped working. So I'm like, okay, I got personal card. So I start swiping my personal card. Personal card gets shut off. Then I swiping my business card. Then the other business card. Scott's swiping all his cards. As we're getting further into this, they start turning all our cards off. We're like going crazy trying to pay this stuff off. So as we were there for over 3 hours,
a woman comes in and she's coming in to actually cancel.
And she goes, it was a vacuum cleaner. I've been trying to pay it off since September. I can't believe this lady's been working for 6 months to pay off a vacuum. You know, like, how good do we have it? And Scott and I kind of look at each other and we said, how much is the vacuum? And she goes, it's $113. And I just nodded to the lady, pay it off. So she hands the lady her vacuum. And the lady's just looking at us in disbelief. And she's like, what happened? And she's like, well, they just paid off your vacuum through Promise of Hope. And she's just like, I don't understand how this could possibly happen to me. She goes, good things don't happen to me. To do it was fun because you kind of wanted to secretly go in and just do it and get it over with and just know that you did a good thing and we get to tell everyone we did this with their money. To see their faces, that was the bonus round.
I received a phone call from the receptionist saying that Scott from Promise of Hope was here to give a donation.
Finally, this nice woman comes up to me and says, oh, you know, yes, I spoke with your wife and she said you had some items you guys want to donate. And
unlike any other donation, let me just say, the lap blankets were amazing. And we do receive a lot of lap blankets, but this was overwhelming.
I think I had like 100 of them. Now I'm thinking like, what am I giving them? Some lap blankets and a couple $100 in gift cards. And then I see her eyes tear up and I start to realize like this is a big deal.
We go out on community outings throughout the whole entire year. So it is a perfect time for when I met Scott that he donated these lap blankets that we could take the residents outside and make sure they are warm.
So now I'm getting choked up, she's getting choked up, and you know those are the things that you know make you feel good about being a part of Promise of Hope and starting a charity.
We aren't just one cause. We are various causes. And we like to have money readily available for when something does happen, we could swoop in immediately and make a difference in someone's life, like the tragedy with the McMorris family.
The Scouts of Troop 161 of Shoreham were heading with adult chaperones to the Long Island Greenbelt Trail for what was billed as a Troop Day hike. Murphy admitted to police he'd been drinking, just leaving the Swan Lake Golf Club. He allegedly swerved into the narrow shoulder where the boys in bright red shirts were walking.
The injuries of the youngest, 12 years old, were so severe he did not survive.
On the day of the accident, you step out of yourself for a little while, and there comes this time where you're just completely in an alternate universe.
This was an experience I've never thought that could ever happen to me. You never wake up one day and you think, today I'm going to lose my brother.
Not in your craziest dreams would you ever think that a 12-year-old boy could be ripped away from your lives in an instant.
My mom said to me that, like, we're going to give Andrew what he deserves. We're gonna send him off in the way that's proper, and we're gonna put the money aside and figure it out later.
And we knew we had to have the kind of setting and the kind of funeral and the kind of wake to be able to accommodate a lot of people.
I reached out to Dr. Cardesano at the Miller Place School District
So it started with a phone call from Mike saying, tell me that this is not true. Just tell me it's not true. We hung up the phone, and a few minutes later, after he spoke with Scott and Tammy, he called me back and he said, we know how to help.
We want to pay for the entire funeral. We'd want this burden completely off them.
We contacted the McMorrises and we told them that we were going to help pay tribute to their son, and that Promise of Hope Foundation would pick up all of the expenses.
And to get that phone call, it was just overwhelming in such an amazing way that someone or some people would care so much to come in and do something so incredible for us.
It allowed me to do, with my husband and my daughter, create a space at the funeral home that when people walked in there, they knew Andrew. So he went to art classes, and it was completely on the whim, and he started painting these beautiful paintings. They started playing piano, and then we found he had this passion for Michael Jackson. And so then we let him play whatever he wanted to play. And then, of course, his passion was aviation. Started when he was really young. His dream was to fly an airplane, so we got him into Aero Camp, and he was able to pilot a plane from Islip, MacArthur Airport, to Hartford.
He wanted to do good for the world, and I couldn't ask for anything more from a son than what he gave to me as a father.
That gift that Promise of Hope gave myself and my family, I don't think that there's a way for me ever to repay that amount of blessing that they gave my family.
The Promise of Hope Foundation is a Long Island charity that helps other charities.
There's a lot of wonderful charities out there that have very specific missions, and I think with Promise of Hope, their mission is to fill those gaps.
Everybody wants to help in some way, but often they feel like they can't. They don't know how, they don't have any skills, they don't have the money, the means, whatever it is, but everybody has something to share.
They make decisions for the foundation, but they are the ones that for years made these decisions with their own pocketbooks, with their own checkbooks.
When you have a partner like Promise of Hope, you're able to provide so much more care and comfort to patients who are at their worst.
They all trust that we are doing the right thing, and they believe in the causes that we are trying to help.
It's touching that they feel like we are going to go out of our way to make sure that those dollars are well spent.
There are three faces behind this organization. You don't have to wonder who's making the decisions. You don't have to wonder with Promise of Hope, is your hard-earned money going to support those that you would want to help individually?
You know, the thing about us is, I don't know what it is, because the tragedy didn't happen yet, you know, and I hope it doesn't happen, but unfortunately it will. So I couldn't even say, what are we funding this year? We're funding hope.
They help us to stand when we could not stand ourselves.